Hello, and welcome to this episode of Moments in Credit Union History, brought to you by CUNA Mutual. Today, it is my pleasure and my honor to welcome both Robert and his father, Marvin Cashman, from Metro Credit Union to the show. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello there.
I have been looking forward to this interview for so long. I know I jokingly say that Metro Credit Union is a family business, and I mean that only in that both of you have had long careers there. Not that the credit union is owned by the Cashman family. It is certainly a credit union like everybody else, and every member has their own vote. But welcome to the show. I'd love to explore the Metro story, the Cashman story, and the floor is yours. I'm so excited for this interview.
You were there first, so you can start.
Well, ask me any questions, but I'll start first with a little bit of history going way back to the 30s.
Okay.
So my father, who came over to the United States when he was 9 years old, he had 3 brothers and a sister. One of his brothers died youngish in his early 20s or so. But his oldest brother, Louis, or Louis, as Uncle Louis, I know him, he was the one, he worked on the railroad as a conductor, and he had a brother, Arthur. And Arthur also worked for the railroad. I do not know how they got involved with a credit union, but from its very inception in the late 30s into the early 40s, then he worked for the railroad, and he started the New York, New Haven Employees Credit Union. And they were located in South Boston Station in Boston, Massachusetts. And he was involved enough that he ended up being a director on the CUNA National Board of Directors. So he was a little bit of a mover and a shaker, I guess. So his brother came to work for him also, and worked in the New York, New Haven Railroad Credit Union after they stopped working for the railroad and went to work full time as credit union employees. And at that time, they had a very thriving credit union business. And I remember going over there when I first got involved. And I remember asking how big they were in assets, and he said 12 million. Now, 12 million, you know, at that time, I guess, was a really a lot of money. Normally, I think it's a morning's work now with the credit union, you know. But you know, things evolved over the years. My father. So this was my father's oldest brother, Louis, Uncle Louis, we called him. And anyways, he used to get away from, he lived in Chelsea at one time, but he ultimately ended up living in Wollaston. It was sort of a part of Quincy in Massachusetts. And so he did very, very well with the credit union. But he used to come every so often to Chelsea, and there was this credit union known as the New Chelsea Credit Union. And my father got involved with it, encouraged by his brother, my uncle. And I remember maybe I was in the 7th, 8th grade or so, definitely the 9th, the beginning when I start going to high school, that they would go, was every Tuesday and Thursday evenings, the credit union would be open from 7 to 9. And then afterwards, the guys used to play poker. So that's how it all sort of began. And this is all during the war years of the 40s. There was the credit union charter, I think, first started off as the Chelsea charter, and then it went to my father got involved. They changed the name to New Chelsea. When I got involved with the credit union, I changed it back to Chelsea because I didn't like the word new. I thought that was sort of a negative. And I sort of got involved with it. My involvement started pretty much after I graduated college in 1955 and did a couple of years in the Army. I remember writing letters home talking about things about the credit union and so on. I think when I came, the assets were about 98,000. Not a lot of money, that's for sure. But that was in 1957 after I got out of the Army. I spent 2 years in the Army after graduation college, Boston University. So I guess I kind of learned the business starting in late 1957, sort of. I didn't have any other job, but there was some talk about me kind of getting together with an older cousin who was 5 years older, that was the nephew of my Uncle Louis from the New York New Haven Railroad Credit Union. And he was involved. He ended up in the insurance business, and he got a lot of the business from the New York New Haven Credit Union. So in fact, he had an office across the street from South Station in one of the buildings there. And that's where his original office was. So I guess I started my career in the early 50s, mid 50s. And when I got started, and it really started, I guess, in the summer of August of 1957. And that's when I started. So my father picked up on something from Uncle Louis, his brother. And when I went to work there, I didn't have any job or anything. And my cousin, that was the insurance man, he says he can come to work to me for $40 a week. And I was a sergeant in the Army, and I was making $160 a month, a week, a month rather. So my father says, I'll give you $45. I said, I'll try it for 6 months and see what happens. So anyway.
Famous last words.
Yeah, 60 odd years later, here we are. But that's kind of the, background information. To start going, that's how I really got into the business, so to say.
So I think I do need to rescind my comment. It is a family business in that credit unions are really ingrained in your family from a long time ago. That's fascinating.
There was my Uncle Louis, he had a daughter, Flossie, and Flossie married a man whose last name was Biller. So that was, they were the ones that started the Wollaston Credit Union, which was ultimately merged. I don't know if we merged. I think
No, they merged with Century Bank.
Right. They merged with Century Bank at that, because a banker got in there, and he took them to a bank. So it was something that the family got involved with. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So your 6-month trial period became some 60 years later.
Yeah.
And Robert, were you gung-ho on credit unions, or you thought, I'm going to try something else different for my career? How did you get there?
Well, similarly, as my father had told me when we've talked over the years, when he was in high school, he actually was doing some of the ledger books for the credit union in Chelsea. My grandfather, George, my grandmother, Rhoda, his parents were actually volunteers and ultimately became managers there. And that's how he practiced his math skills in doing the work. Similarly for me, I sort of grew up in the house. I remember, on Saturdays going to Chelsea in the office and hanging around and doing some things. Ultimately, I got an interest in accounting and studied accounting, and I went to BU as well, graduated in 1983. When I got out, the economy wasn't great, and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. And my father said, well, why don't you come to work at the credit union and see if you like it? And I told him I would try for 6 months, okay? Here we are 38 years later. It's been a great ride. And, I've had the opportunity to really gain some of the experiences from my father. So it's been great.
That's absolutely fascinating. So I think what I love about this story of the Cashman family and the credit union is the credit union was very humble beginnings, and you have become this largest state chartered credit union in Massachusetts. Metro is an amazing credit union doing amazing things. And I think that probably there's stories from each generation of times where the credit union really had to meet a need within your community. So maybe tell me a little bit about that. What are you most proud of that your credit union did under your tenure?
You want to start first?
Huh?
You want to start?
Yeah, well, banking in general, and maybe a little offshoot of that, the credit union, were a little more homey and not as rigid and liberal, maybe a little more liberal. I don't know, but the banking is banking, and I feel that over the years, I did a lot of good things for people. Many times we extended ourselves. It was this nature or whatever it was. Banking wasn't, we look at it as banking, but we certainly are bankers. That's for sure. But I think to this day we don't have the stuffiness. Banks used to be very, very stuffy way back when I first started out. Not so much today. Things have changed, and they came to find out that it was it's not stuffy. You had to come down to other levels to really make the thing work. And I think there's been a change over the decades. A lot of the banking stuffiness is gone, I think.
Over the years, my father has always said to me, helping people out is something that's important. If you think about it, that's the credit union adage, people helping people, not for profit, not for charity, but for service. That's something that I've recognized that my father, during his tenure, he did. He has told me countless stories of how he uses the phrase extending themselves, but where they did things for people just to get by. And I will say that how this has progressed from what I learned from my father and what I obviously can see what my grandfather did as well is helping people. We're now dealing with second and third generation within our credit union members, their family members, and it's come on. And it's part of it's because of the reputation, and I think the reputation that what credit unions do.
Absolutely. It's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing it with me. I think that, a lot of times I say that credit unions are like a family. And I think that, not only are you folks related by blood, but I think that the passion for credit unions is certainly what unites the entire Metro family. So thank you for sharing this moment in credit union history.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. And the goal is to keep perpetuating what takes place in the credit union world. So thanks for letting us participate.
Yeah,
Thank you again. This has been another episode of Moments in Credit Union History, brought to you by CUNY Mutual Group.